innovative in, and constantly breaking barriers and getting through to the audience.
Now, the next one is one of our big new authors for next year, which is Holly Peterson.
Yeah, this was the starting point, which is really, I suppose, certainly kind of like for a new author, new book. So this is kind of like a collection of sort of New York elements and different sorts of graphics and things that have been collected from magazines, interior design sort of stuff.
The New York theme is key. It's really important that comes across, because that's got the glamour and the sort of Sex and the City feel to it that everybody wants to sort of buy into.
Yeah.
But what makes this quite different is that it's for a slightly older woman. It's definitely more for the sort of Desperate Housewives viewers, the Alison Pearson readership.
Well, the colour, it's red, so it's going to be quite hot at some point. It's got a beach scene, which is always good for me, because I love the beach.
Okay, so Ravenscar, Barbara Taylor Bradford, is the next one to look at.
These were the last, I think, two kind of versions, which really, I suppose, trying two different colours, one kind of trying to be a bit more dramatic and the other one trying to be a bit sort of softer and fresher.
The general feeling was that we would go with something slightly more moody, so the bluer one, which gives much more of that sort of atmosphere.
I think people wanted more sense of drama.
No, I think that looks great. It has that real blockbuster feel to it, which of course is what we're after.
No way. Absolutely no way. I would never go for that because of the big photo on the back. And no. That looks like a Barbara Taylor Bradford type. No way.
These were, although absolutely fantastic and hugely successful at the time, I think there's a lot out there that has sort of looked like that, and I think we need to certainly update the look and really get, I think, like Max says, a slightly more sophisticated feel, because we have to get the consumer to see it above all the competition, and there is so much competition out there. Tesco's say you have 3 to 5 seconds to capture your audience. Imagine you've got a woman with a shopping trolley and 2 screaming children, and she's walking past the book section, and in that 3 seconds she sees that jacket and goes, oh, that looks interesting, in the trolley.
What's the best-selling colour for romantic fiction covers?
Well, it's definitely not pink, which I'm sure a lot of people would think. There is, you go through trends, and it's very much, especially the younger women's fiction, is very important to look at the season's trends and fads and colours. So we're always constantly working a year in advance, trying to predict what's going to be out there and in the shops at that time.
Oh, right, so you're like catwalk. You follow catwalk trends on book covers.
We're cutting edge. We're on absolutely. Always looking to see, what the latest style and decor trends are going to be.
So these are books as accessories?
Well, not so much, but books as fantastic reading experiences, but obviously they can become the must-have accessory of the month as well. If it's the book that everybody's talking about, everybody's seen with on the tube or train or, walking down the street with, they become a really coveted item. So if you can appeal on that level as well as on an intellectual level, it's fantastic.
It's not only the new, sexy titles that are getting the full must-have accessory treatment. Publishers are starting to realise the huge potential in rebranding the classics, especially since so many of them are out of copyright. First up, Jane Austen.
I think Jane Austen is possibly the biggest author name there is. She's bigger than J.K. Rowling, she's bigger than Dan Brown. Everyone knows who she is, and yet if you want to find her books, you have to go right to the back of the shop. And they look like academic textbooks.
Yeah.
And they're very dry and dusty and rather off-putting.
So you're refreshing the brand, the Austen
Absolutely.
brand. You'll just bring it bang up to date.
Yeah.
You're repackaging her. I know, I think it's fantastic. And you've got foil, embossed in foil, Austen in foil.
Yeah.
That's quite a chic
And some
thing
little
to do.
spot varnishing, little lacy effect, which I think is beautiful.
And it's all in a tasteful mauve.
It is.
You've steered away from chick lit pink.
Sense and Sensibility is my favourite. Northanger Abbey's lovely. No, they all just look, I just think they look gorgeous, and I keep picking them up during the day at work and staring at them. And also stroking them.
Yes, they're very, very strokeable. Yes,
Absolutely.
I like that.
we've got support from not just the bookshops, but the supermarkets as well. We've got lots of interest from tons of people that you wouldn't normally think would be interested. And certainly if you had them in the old jackets, they wouldn't have done. But because we're saying, look, here you are, we all know the brand, everyone knows who she is, just go for it. And that's what's been so cool.
So you'll be able to pick up a copy of Sense and Sensibility and Persuasion along with your frozen peas.
Yeah.
And your, tofu.
But how great if that's what your trip from the supermarket resulted in.
Marianne Dashwood is young, flirtatious and ready to meet a knight in shining armour. Her sister, Eleanor, is more restrained. She knows that when it comes to romance, slow and steady wins the race.
Go on then, what is it?
It is Sense and Sensibility.
One of the big ones, yeah.
Can you guess what it was now known from the blurb?
The blurb is different. It's a lot more modern. It's more up to date than it used to be. And so is the cover.
I think reissuing Jane Austen with chicklet covers is just sacrilege. I think that's so sad, because they're seriously wonderful books, and you don't have to court a new readership. You don't have to suck up to them. They love her. And they love her for her subtlety and her beadiness and her hot line to young women's emotions. They don't need vulgar covers to help them along. And it's an awful shame, because it vulgarises them, and she isn't vulgar.
It's been hilarious how some people have got so worked up about this. It's as if I'd stamped on a puppy's head, you'd think, from the reaction we've had from some people. And I think it's because any time you do something a bit different, people do tend to react. And I think some people think we've kind of changed the text or retold them so that, Lizzie Bennet's called Bridget Bennett and she lives in a flat in West London, and, and that's just rubbish. That's complete rubbish. They're exactly the same books. It's just trying to say to people, everyone should have romance in their lives, everyone should be able to enjoy a good book, and there is no one better. There literally is no one better.
And if you don't fancy the classics, even rebranded, then you certainly won't be left on the shelf. Mills & Boon have made sure that simply every taste is catered for.
Our best-selling series is Modern, which globally sells really brilliantly and is just intense, couple-focused, glitz and glamour, absolute fantasy.
So Pregnancy of
Revenge, yeah,
and
the Italian's Forced Bride.
And the Billionaire Boss's Forbidden Mistress.
Yeah.
They're modern.
They're modern.
Right.
Then the next romance-based series is Tender, which is just in there, actually, the 5-year baby secret.
With larger print?
Yes. In that, the bedroom doors...
Is that a clue as to the people who read that?
It was an idea that we had, because it is sort of a clue to the readership, but actually there's a lot of youthful people out there who read it, and it is really, really fun, and it's very heartwarming, it's very emotional, and we shut the bedroom door in that one, so if you don't want sex...
Billionaire Boss's Forbidden Mistress has the ruthless tagline.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? S&M? No.
Not really S&M, but he's going to tread all over you, and you're going to love it, every minute of it.
Oh, OK. But does she domesticate him in the end?
Yeah, he'll show his vulnerable side as he falls in love with her.
And I like the subgenre here called Modern Romance, Italian Husbands.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's an Italian, a Greek, Spanish, Latin, anything that's sort of slightly exotic, shakes fly off the shelves.
Still, shakes.
Absolutely.
Still, because shakes were big in the 20s, weren't they?
And shakes are huge again now.
Great. And what about the sex? How difficult is it for your authors to write the sex?
Depends on the author. Some of them are so hot that I practically have to pull myself off the ceiling after reading one of their manuscripts. It's terrible. And some of them just struggle a bit with it. And